Put the Yeti in the back and she's ready to rock. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. It's a May River thing. Got the whole family down here. It's a May River thing. May River thing.
Hey everybody, it is the latest edition of Low Country Chronicle. Tim Wood here. You there. Welcome. Another gorgeous day here in the Low Country. And very excited to have our first return guest. Very cool. Our first return guest. Here to talk about what's been talked about, what's the buzz on Bluffton, Hilton Head Ask and Answer. It is Heather Price. Heather, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Very good. Got a great response to our first video. Other than maybe we should go a little shorter, but
That did get a little long, but that's okay.
yeah,
that's all right.
this is that's been my mantra with this. You gotta let conversations breathe, and I'll cut. What I'll do eventually is cut these up into shorter clips. To be more, I don't know, Instagram friendly, I guess, and we'll also have a podcast version, so that folks can just listen to the audio when they're stuck in traffic trying to get over the bridge. So
Yeah, that's the thing.
so in terms of what's happening with the page this week, in terms of things that you're seeing a lot of posts with, you're seeing a lot of things in terms of help wanted, I guess. I think I saw one post that said, I think I speak for the whole low country F&B industry in saying we're hiring.
Yes.
So how do you handle, where do you think's behind that? Is that just a normal trend, or is this just a normal cycle in terms of this time of year, or is it more so than before?
Oh, I definitely think part of it is the normal pre-heritage spring break tourist season coming, high school kids, college kids. So that's always been kind of normal. However, I think there's a much deeper thing going on here. I think we've been in a snowball effect for quite some time, even pre-COVID, with the high cost of living versus what's considered a living wage, or what people are able to pay, and add to that the housing issue. And we just kind of got a perfect storm now where we have created an extreme worker shortage.
Yeah, it's gotten to the point where how does it solve itself? How do we solve? Is it just housing to draw more workers, or what is?
I don't think we need to draw more workers. I think we need to be able to provide a livable, clean, safe place that's affordable, where people can work where they live, or live where they work. This issue goes all the way back years and years, 20, 30 years. However, we have grown so quickly and brought in so many middle class and people that have corporate type jobs. But with that then comes all the building of the restaurants and the banks and the service industry to support that. And it's upside down right now. And I think the way to fix it is, yes, build housing. The farm in Bluffton was actually built for affordable housing for the service workers, the teachers, the police officers, the restaurant workers, the food and beverage, all of them. And now it's the same price. It's the prices have risen so much that now we need another farm somewhere.
And then the other thing that you see on a ton on the page, or at least from my perspective, I don't know in terms of like how many posts in terms of approving, is just I'm trying to move to the area. I'm looking for a rental. I'm a new home buyer. I'm looking for any opportunity to buy a home. The home, it's kind of this help wanted, homes wanted thing kind of plays right off of each other.
Absolutely. And the housing market and what you can get a house for and rent a house for doesn't match what people are making here for a lot of people, or single moms that don't have the double income to be able to afford $2,300 a month for a little tiny ranch 3-bedroom house that doesn't even have all the bells and whistles that you would expect a house that price to have. So I think we're kind of in trouble a little bit. And the sad fact is that I think some businesses that we really want are going to end up going out of business because they can't get workers. And, people are kind of vicious with their reviews and again, not showing much grace and understanding that there is a huge worker crisis right now. And it's not that the business wants to have slow service or, the kitchen's in the weeds most of the night and orders are kind of getting messed up here and there because they're so overwhelmed by the 3 people that they have when they normally need a staff of 10. So,
and probably not the 3 people that all things being equal, they'd wanted to hire because they just got to take what they can get right now. Right.
Right. Which then you spend money training it's just this vicious cycle. And the people that can make the changes, they're just not willing to do what they need to do. And I'm looking at the long-term vision. They're looking at the short-term, in my opinion, money that would be spent versus the long-term return on having an affordable place that supports our service industry, which then supports the businesses, which then puts money back into the economy, which then supports football, high schools, and which then supports all the youth teams that need sponsorships. And because the businesses have the money, and it's this whole symbiotic system here, but we got to be willing to do something, which requires investing in money. And everybody seems to not. They come from up north down here where the taxes are cheaper and the cost of living is cheaper, but then the services aren't there. And it keeps people that are trying to break through to get a piece of the pie. It keeps them down.
And it's really weird, honestly. Like I've moved down here twice now. So the first time we moved was 2004. And that difference was huge from up north to down here, cost of living versus, and 2 people working at home at the time, big girl jobs, and so comparatively in terms of what we were making a lot down here, and the cost of living was lower, and so it was like, well, this is great. Okay, so this time. Not quite the difference in terms of cost of housing, cost of everything down here now. Still cheaper than up north because costs have gone up there as well. And we made more off of our house this time than we did the first time up north, so that's good. But at the same time, that gap in terms of some of the things people are drawn here for is really shrinking. So
Mhm.
it's like, if you were a betting person, would you say that it ends up that the restaurants and the small businesses are paying, end up paying $20 an hour, end up paying more
No,
livable
if they'll
wages?
be able to. I think they're going to end up going out of business.
Yeah. So
I don't think they're going to be able to do that,
it,
especially the new ones,
yeah,
ones that have been established forever. Like, I mean, I'm throwing out names, Hudson's but even everybody has a breaking point.
yeah, yeah, and it's you you can only run on skeleton crews for so long,
Exactly.
and you know, I do you see that? Do you see uh again, putting the crystal ball, in front of you? Do you see uh the next farm? I mean, do you see uh a when we talked about affordable housing the first time, I just remember doing a lot of stories, and there was this really dark or uh, negative image around affordable housing when you use that term.
Right.
Now, uh, we're just talking about affordable housing for the middle class. We're not even talking about affordable housing for poverty level. We're just talking about affordable housing for the middle class now.
Well, here's the thing. Poverty level is now what lower middle class used to be.
Yeah.
We're moving. I saw an article in who knows where. We're so inundated with quick and easy news, but let's say Newsweek or Forbes or something, where the CEOs of companies in the 80s used to make 25 to 30% or times, not percent. So 20 or 30 times more what their entry level workers were making, or the lower level. It's 350 times now.
Yeah.
The gap and the tax breaks, like single moms are paying more in taxes than people making 30 times what they are.
I mean, if you just look at the list of I saw an article the other day, all of the companies and huge companies like Nike and that paid next to zero federal taxes last year.
Right. We're just so broken, and I just feel like Bluffton is kind of a reflection of that, but not exclusively. I think this story is running throughout our entire country. And so for our level, I do think there will be some affordable housing. But I think by the time it comes, the need is going to even out. It already outweighs what they're going to be. So let's say they build 150 homes. They really need like 2,000
Yeah.
to even make a dent. And so I see here a lot of times things happen not preventatively, but in a reactionary.
Yeah.
And so, for a prime example, Bluffton, Buckwalter Parkway, when it first was made, and they already had this long-term development and knew that they were going to bring in Woodbridge and eventually now this Washington Square that's coming in and all these, now Publix and Kroger and everything. But it was literally 2 lanes. And then once they started building, then they had to go back and make it bigger. Why do we not do that first?
It's almost like they're trying to make it so that it doesn't look like foolish spending out of the gate, but at the same
maybe.
And I had this conversation with Mayor Solka just about that forward planning and her not even being able to see that 20-year out vision. 20 years ago, and now seeing it, all the things all of the planners and economists were saying back then are coming to fruition, so that all the things they were doing back then that may have looked like foolish spending are now now it's almost
Right.
like, okay, we need 3 lanes now, or we need
Right. And she is, I have so much respect for her. I think she's lovely. And she definitely wants growth, but controlled.
yeah. I mean,
we need to grow.
It's been smart growth here, smarter growth, and I've lived in a bunch of places. It's been smarter growth here than I've seen in any of the places I've lived before. But still,
on one hand, but every time that we see new construction,
yes.
Is it a bank, a Parker's, or a grocery store? It just seems like we're always on repeat.
Yeah. And at the same time, like we said, we're in this help wanted, home wanted thing now, and thankfully, I do see a lot of happy endings on Ask and Answer in terms of the folks that post about houses and people giving them some resources that they may never have had. So that's a good thing. But it's just like, in general, if you're trying to rent here or if you're trying to get your first home here, it is it's a really dicey time. Like I'm happy that home people that bought their homes and are selling, that they're getting value for them now, and that's a good thing, and that everybody wants their house values to go up, and I get that, but it's, boy, in terms of just attract the thing that we love about the area in terms of this melting pot of people here, we're kind of closing the pot.
I yes, very much so.
Yeah. How do you? Go ahead.
I just think in 5 years we're going to look back and go, the landscape of our town is going to look very different.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of nice things that are happening in Bluffton in terms of some just cool vibe happening, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not gonna say we're becoming Hilton Head, but pricing wise, it is. Like, it was always the affordable option, and so there's not such that gap anymore.
No.
And the only land to build on is here now. So now all of if you're any of the high end luxury spots are building here now, and so it's really interesting. Somebody said this to me yesterday. Like, almost all of, like, a lot of the folks in Palmetto Bluff, they're all Northerners. Something you mentioned earlier in terms of restaurants and in terms of like, how do you guys vet that on the page in terms of restaurant discussions and I've seen a few discussions about new places that open or people that are saying, hey, what'd you think of this place? And some that can go south really quick.
So yeah, when we approve those posts, which sometimes we don't, it depends on how it's worded. I usually turn on notifications for that post because I know that we will be cruising down a highway and end up in a ditch really quick. And then I love the sub. So, somebody will post, comments will start coming in, but then there'll be that one comment where there's 50, 80, 120 comments under that comment. So I turn on notifications, and sometimes we miss them, but people, when I started growing and the page started growing, really took issue with me not allowing business reviews or bad business experiences. And I just felt like one person's experience, you can't take at face value.
Yeah.
When people are angry, a lot of times they'll embellish or make it sound worse than it was, or leave out the part where they contributed to the bad, whatever. But there are times when things aren't right and it went really bad. And so we came up with a way that there are steps that you can follow to then complain or warn the public about something. And it's amazing how few posts we get now because they don't want to follow those steps, which just goes to show you that a lot of people just want to vent and be heard. And, after they get a good night's sleep and a cup of coffee the next morning, they're really not that mad.
And
But
they
now
probably
this
feel
bad
bad about what
review
they
is out
said.
there.
Yeah, and
Right.
they probably feel bad
And
about what they
so,
started.
I just, life is hard enough. We're all in a pandemic. I mean, this rule started before the pandemic, but I just, and at the same time, I don't allow advertising.
Yeah.
But there is a way when somebody asks, where's the best pancakes? Where's the best sushi? Who can accommodate a party of 10? Where's kid-friendly food? People can jump in, and it's interesting because a lot of times I'll think, oh yeah, I want to remember that for next time when I need that. So it helps everybody.
It's like it's so hard to figure out with social media people's intent, because it like if the intent is to notify and get feedback from the restaurant owner, or in terms of like we really want you here. This is a really cool place. I had less, I didn't have the experience I wanted, but I want to, I want you to improve. I want you to succeed, but I want you to know about what happened. Like if there was like that context and that intent, it'd be great. And I always said, and to this day, doing food reviews or restaurant reviews, like if you don't see me writing about it, there's a reason. Like I do feel like I want to highlight the positives and I've always felt like let the marketplace take care of the negatives, honestly.
Right. I mean, if someone's consistently bad, people are going to know that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like we all know what time to go to Walmart or not, because there's not enough registers open. Like you just kind of knew, like people will know. So, I mean, and
what
listen,
time is that, by the way?
Right after work.
Yeah, it's our secret. No,
anytime on a Saturday during tourist season.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Go then.
And I'm not going to lie.
Time. Yeah.
There are times that I want to get on my own page and blast. Sometimes it's hard when you're upset, like you want to be heard. So sure. I have to, calm myself down and not be a keyboard warrior.
Yeah, it's and honestly, it's why I've seen pages like this fail in the past, and you've seen the same thing, because you can start to believe your own hype in terms of how many followers you have, and the intent of the page and the power of and I've always I've always felt this way with journalists. Like there's a power in this pen, there's a power in this keyboard, and you have to respect that and use it for good, or use it for right intentions. And but there's a lot of pages out there. Okay, so if we want to have a negative experience page, sure, have your negative or the bad drivers page, which is fine, but it's like that's not what you're going for here. And I said it last time. I respect the heck out of you and your moderators in terms of how you're able to keep very focused on your mission for the page. Mm-hmm. So, and do you see more and more of the recommendation sort of thing in terms of restaurants, in terms of people asking for that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Especially this time of year where spring break is happening, and we do have still a lot of retirees here, so their families will come in for spring break and visit grandma and grandpa and go on spring break and beach and all that, and a lot of times they want to get out of their normal routine that they have as retirees. You probably go to the same few places, and so they'll jump on a lot and ask for recommendations because family's coming in. And that's kind of fun to see all the different things come through. Or my grandkids are coming in for a week, or the summer. What are some fun things to do? Not the beach. I love that. Not the beach. What are some other things to do? So it's kind of fun to pick through some of those. I get ideas.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the fun, quite honestly, of surfing the page, is just like there's always some interesting question being asked or recommendation being asked for that, like, I probably would have never thought to ask, but very useful, or that maybe 3 weeks ago I didn't need, but I need it now.
Right.
What's before I let you go, like what's the one kind of post that you'd really like to see more of, that you're surprised maybe, or just that you'd like to see more of?
I think more community things, more things that show grace more, or good news and thank yous, or hey, this person went above and beyond. And I do get those, and I love them.
Yeah.
I wish that there were more.
And by the way, you usually get like
have a bad experience and jump, oh, I got to tell everybody. But I want to hear about the guy at Publix that went out of the way, or maybe you
get like 100 comments on those, right?
Right. Yeah. I miss those.
Yeah.
We used to have them a lot more than we do.
Yeah. And I think it's a sign of the times we're in. Like, we're just so mired in the negative right now, and just surviving and plodding through, that we're not taking that time for like just appreciating those little things.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, when we hang up, I'm gonna go do that right when we hang up, because it's a good, I used to do that. I used to do that on a page that I used to have, just like, I think it was like Good News Tuesday or something like that, and it's just like,
right. I mentioned last time we did like Thankful Thursday, where you could thank somebody. Sometimes we used to do Friday Fun. In fact, I should put one up. Where I don't know, it's 1980. I think I just did this. What's your CD playlist? And we all put up. That was fun.
That was
fun. I had forgotten about some of those songs, and I'm a total 80s girl. I love them. So we do fun stuff like that. That kind of stuff.
Yeah, my and I think I put it on there. Like, my signature 1980s song was Walk Like an Egyptian, the Bangles.
Oh, yeah.
I love Suzanne. Time for like just so yeah, and I always loved the Bangles, and like they were one of the first people that I kind of got addicted to, the first groups I got addicted to on MTV.
Who was the guy that did Addicted to Love? Was that the one with
Robert
all the
Palmer.
girls that?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, with the slick back Palmer girls. Yeah.
I think I put on the '80s playlist. Frankie Goes to Hollywood.
Yep.
Relax, don't do it. Yeah, that one. Yeah. I'm not Devin. I can't sing.
No, not few of us are. But yeah, no, it's I love those posts, and I just in general, I do. Yeah, I hope there's more good news being spread around, and more of those random act of kindness, thank you.
Kindness, yeah.
So we'll pay it forward, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Heather Price from Bluffton, Hilton Head, ask and answer. Join the page, people, please. I don't, if you don't know about it yet, and this video might help you know about, like, if you don't, like, it just check it out. Join the page. It is the, whether you're a newcomer or a longtime resident, it is an incredible community resource and a great gathering the right kind of gathering, like what social media should be, quite honestly. So
Thank you.
I thank you for that as always, Heather, and hope you have a good weekend.
Thank you. You too. You too. It's supposed to be nice.
Get out and have some fun. All right,
Absolutely.
that's the latest edition of Low Country Chronicle. Check out all of our social. I'll put that up on the end screen here. But please check us out wherever, whether it's the newsletter, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're getting them all up and going, and join our fan group page too is on Facebook, where a lot of the conversations about the videos and just conversation in general is happening. So, Tim Wood for Low Country Chronicle, Heather Price, huge thank you once again, and we will see you next time here on Low Country Chronicle.